Alright, I know I promised a video a few months ago, but I am not gonna lie, I got lazy. I had the video completely recorded and it's just been sitting on my desktop unedited this entire time. And I just haven't done it because I'm lazy. But don't worry about that because I'm back. And I'm putting the video out right now. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you the 9 upgrades that I have done for my Ender 3 Pro. So the first upgrade for my 3D printer was the SKR Mini E3, and I went for this upgrade for 2 reasons. One, it made the stepper motor silent, which was a huge upgrade, because when running this printer at night 2 feet from your bed, it becomes an issue. Second, I also wanted to run Marlin because it allowed for more adjustable options in the software, and it was just overall better. To install the motherboard, I was supposed to take apart the case, and unfortunately the screws I had just kept stripping, and I struggled a lot to get it out. So to get the screws out, I tried to drill the screws, then I tried to solder an Allen wrench to open it, and eventually my brother let me try this tool set that he has, which dug into the screws and easily opened it up. So after a few hours of struggling, I finally got it open. But once it was open, it was then time to take out the wiring, put the new motherboard in, and rewire it. If you ever plan on doing this yourself, I strongly recommend you take pictures of the wiring so you know where everything is. Because if you don't, then you're just going to put the wrong wiring in the wrong places and just fire your motherboard. So and as you can hear, the motors are silent compared to before. Huge upgrade, super worth it. Since that's done, I guess it's time to move on to the next upgrade. So this next part actually took a lot out of me, especially because I decided to make it more complicated for myself. Octopi is basically a software to wirelessly connect to your Ender 3 Pro from your computer using a Raspberry Pi. Most people just plug in the Raspberry Pi with a Type-C plug, but I wanted to make mine look a little nicer, so I decided to wire it into my Ender 3 power supply. But to do this, I had to learn how to solder. I began by soldering the buck converter into the power supply. I did this to reduce the voltage to 5 volts to stop it from frying my Raspberry Pi. Unfortunately, when testing the buck converter, it wasn't showing any voltage. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, and I even rewired it using a different, nicer buck converter, and it still didn't work. After much trial and error, I realized the entire roll of black wire that I ordered was not conducting electricity at all. And after switching it to blue wire, it worked perfectly. After finishing up the buck converter, I began creating wires to plug in my Raspberry Pi. I made it so I can easily unplug and plug it back in whenever I need to take it away from my printer. After making the wires, I ran a quick voltage check to make sure it all works. Then I printed a housing for the Raspberry Pi, and then I put it all together.
It's on. Hey, these are works.
So I began this next part by disassembling my old extruder, and I realized that the motor I have is for an old Ender 3, meaning I can't use it with the upgraded kit. I didn't realize this, so I bought a gear puller and spent hours trying to take it apart until I was finally able to, and then I realized I couldn't even use it. So I just had to buy a new motor that would work properly and continue to install the new extruder. The next thing I wanted to do was to replace my bed springs. They are inconsistent and never hold, so I replaced them with little rubber blocks that keep it all stable. The reason I invested in the glass bed is because I heard they are better for grip and make it easier for parts to be taken off when it's cold, so I began by removing the normal build plate. This required me to heat up the bed to 60 degrees Celsius and peel off the magnetic strip that lays on top. This was especially difficult because the build plate was heated up, so I couldn't even touch it to get a grip on pulling off the magnetic sheet. But after a lot of effort, it eventually came off. I thought I could secure the bed with irregular clips, but apparently they are in the way of the nozzle, so I bought some very thin and strong bed clamps to hold it down properly. Courtesy of the new Octopi, I now have access to these cool growing time lapses. Used it for the first time printing this chisel holder so that it has a place to stay on the printer. So my 3D printer literally runs like 2 feet from my bed, so I decided to print a screen cover so that the blue light isn't blaring into the room at night, keeping me awake. There's also an issue where the motherboard is slightly offset from the plate on a 3D printer, so the light also leaks out of the side. So I 3D printed a back cover to solve that problem. I know it's a problem that I've had where scrap filament will fall into those little holes in the side of the printer, so I printed out some Vslot covers to prevent that from happening. So my extruder was acting up, so I actually ordered a new one to replace it, and when I bought it, I thought I was buying an upgraded extruder tip. Turns out I just bought a Bowden Tube upgrade instead, which is still pretty nice. I won't complain. Alright, well that's the 9 upgrades I made to my 3D printer currently. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and leave a like on the video. If you have any ideas for what you'd like me to do next, leave a comment. I have no ideas right now, so it would be really helpful if you gave me some. And yeah, if you'd like to support me, I have my Patreon down in the description, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.